but the game of health. Okay, because there's 4 ways you can play a game. 4 ways you can play a game. The first thing you can do is you can refuse to play. Let's say you've been through this process, you've gotten yourself fit and you hated it, and then you go here and you're back to where you were. And then you yo-yo, and then you're back to where you were. Eventually you might say, I'm sick of it, I'm not playing this game anymore. That's one way people do it. So the first way we do it is we refuse to play. Refuse. I've had enough. It's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. Second way we do it is we pretend to play. Right, we get out there and we pretend we're at the gym as often as we can, or we tell others we're at the gym, but we pretend to play. We're not really playing the game of health. In fact, what we're doing, maybe we're at the gym, maybe we're eating right for 2 or 3 days a week, but the other 4 days we're eating as much rubbish as possible. We're eating pizza and pasta and whatever else we can get our greasy little hands on. So the second one is we pretend. We pretend to play. Third way to play a game is we play not to lose. So we play defensively. You play not to lose. What would be an example of that, playing not to lose? Maybe you're in competition with somebody else. Maybe there's another person who's trying to look better than you, and the only way you can do it is you see them, and when they're getting slimmer, you starve yourself, you whatever, so that you look better than they. So what you're doing is you're playing not to lose. You're playing competitively. And the last way, number 4, is you play to win. And that's what we want. If you're going to play this game, play to win. Play to win. Play to love it, not hate it, to love it and to win. Now, if that was possible, wouldn't it be great? If it was possible. What about if it was probable? You see, there's 3 stages we've got. We can either not believe it, not believe it's possible, and we're in the first 2 here. We either refuse or pretend. Maybe we can do it. Maybe it's possible, but I've got to have enough motivation. I've got to be competing with somebody else. Oh, she's looking good, or he's looking good. I better work on myself. But down here, this is where we get to probable. It's going to happen, and we're going to play, and we're going to put our effort and energy in. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? So I create a little acronym. GAME. It's very simple, and here's how it works. So the first part of this, how to play the game of relationships, or play the game of health, or play the game of finances, the first thing we do when we're playing a game is we get a big enough why. We get a big why. Now what a big why satisfies is this 80% psychology. It's the mindset. We've got to get a big enough why, because if you don't have a big enough why, you get out of bed, you go on the run, you feel sore. Next day you'll get out of bed, go on the run, you feel sorer. By the 3rd or 4th day you're in pain, you're in agony, and you'll give up because your why isn't big enough. Because what you've got to deal with is years and years of unconscious programming. And these years of unconscious programming, your brain wants what's familiar. More than it wants change, it wants what's familiar. Because familiarity is what has kept you alive up until now. Therefore, familiarity, the things you've currently been doing or have been doing up to this point, will continue to keep you alive. That's why your brain thinks. And so your brain reverts to what's familiar. That's what it does.
So is that to feel comfortable, to feel in your comfort zone?
All those reasons.
Yeah.
It's just to go back to what's familiar. It's because it works. So if you do something and it doesn't kill you, your unconscious mind locks that in and says that worked. So if you eat a big pizza and a half and it doesn't kill you, your unconscious mind says, well, that works because you're still alive. Okay, you're still alive, must be good for you. That's how your unconscious mind reads it, right? Until you get to the point where you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you some really... Unless you change your ways, and then your unconscious mind hears that and says, whoa, what does he mean? What's he talking about? And then your unconscious mind goes through all your memories. Do you think he's talking about all the pizza we had over the years? Do you think he's talking about all the chocolate cake? Do you think he's talking about all... Oh my goodness. And then your unconscious mind will start to unravel it, because suddenly it's worked out that this is leading to death. And your unconscious mind, or your mind, is designed for survival. We've known that for many years. Your mind is designed to keep you alive. Not to keep you happy, not to make you happy. It's designed for survival. And whatever creates survival, your unconscious mind grabs hold of, clings onto, and that becomes your reality. Make sense? First thing, get a big why. Now, if you've got a big enough reason, you can change anything. If you've got a big enough reason. Think of Tusa. This is a story I told before you got here. He had 2 children, he had a wife. Doctor said he's got 6 months to live. That was his why. I've got to change or I'm going to die. I'm going to leave my children fatherless and my wife a widow. I must change. Once he got that big why, he could shift into gear and do it. Okay, even if he hated it, he could do it. He could make himself do it. If your why is big enough, you can do anything. If your why is big enough, within reason. I mean, you can't fly. I don't care how much you flap your arms. We've got to use common sense with this. We've got to know that it's not just about confidence, it's also about competence. You're not going to be able to do everything, but you will be able to do tremendous amounts if you have a big why. That will drive you, that will motivate you to move and change your life. It's the first one, get a big enough why. Number 2 is adopt the winning mindset. And it's over here, mindset. That's what we need, the winning mindset. We need to get the mindset of a champion. We need to push, and when it doesn't work, what do? We don't give up. It's like the old snowy man from Snowy River. Remember that story? How he was asked, what do you do if the horse bucks you up? Well, you don't let it beat you, you get straight back on. It's that mindset of never giving up, of pushing yourself, of consistently doing it. Okay, because the minute we give up and fall off the wagon, we go back into the old familiar way of thinking. Okay, so we adopt a winning mindset. It's the second one. M. What's M? Master the rules. Master the rules. That's number 3. So in order to master the rules, we first of all need to discover the rules of health. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about some laws of health, some rules. So that when you've got these rules, when you understand them and you apply them to your life, you will actually get the results you desire. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is how we master the rules. And the last one is to enjoy the process. And this is where we talk about hatred. that's where we've got to do some rip work reloading. That's where we've got to change neurologically the way we think so that we can actually enjoy this process. And there's ways that we can do that. There's ways that I don't think we'll have time tonight to talk about how we get ourselves to enjoy something. I'd love to. There's just so much in what we've got here to cover, especially in this area of mastering rules. There's so much there that we're not going to have time to cover everything. I would love to. I'd love to stay here till tomorrow morning, but some of us have to work early in the morning. And so let's get started on this. All right, any questions so far? How does that sound? Does this make sense? It's very simple.
Well, the rules thing, that obviously there's laws of health.
Laws of health, yeah.
Everything. If you obey the laws, you'll get the result.
Correct. Rules are made to be what?
Keep us safe.
Rules are made to be broken, some people say. It's not true. Rules are made to be followed. So what they'll do is they'll bring out a pill and they'll say, take this pill 3 times a day. It's a fat-burning pill. Now what are we doing? They're saying, basically, in essence, you can eat whatever you want and you take this pill and it will get rid of years of bad diet and bad eating. Does anybody believe that? Some people do. And they go ace off and buy this pill and they go, hey, it works. Now perhaps it's a placebo effect. Have we heard of that, the placebo effect? Where you take a sugar pill, you believe it's going to do something, it's going to heal you, make you well. It's a sugar tablet, and because you believe so strongly in this tablet, you take it and suddenly you get changes. Now this could be the case. But how do you turn around, the mind is so strong, but how do you turn around years and years and years of abuse to the body? What we've got to recognise is that there's actual rules and laws that we must follow and obey. And if we don't, there's no quick fix, there's no easy solution to this. Now sometimes we can have rapid solutions, but they're not quick fix. Often it's going deep down into the unconscious mind. It's going deep down into perhaps a repressed memory contained somewhere in the body. Once we deal with that memory, Once we work it out, once we bring that unconscious memory back up into the conscious arena, where it clicks and we suddenly get, oh, I get it. The reason I treat people harshly is because of the way my aunt treated me when I was 3 years old, and she yelled at me. And I felt so unsafe, and now I go around and treat other people harshly and I don't even know why. And perhaps because of that, I've held on to the weight or something as a buffer of protection. It could be something as simple as that.
The other thing is interesting is the 80%.
Yep.
Because it shows you how powerful meditation and
Absolutely.
those things are more powerful than
Absolutely.
anything, the mind.
Absolutely. I agree with what you're saying. It's like if you go out and spend every day at the gym and every day, trying to eat the right food and having slip-ups and whatever else, if you spent the first 6 weeks just getting your mind right before you even started the exercise program, perhaps then you would have more success.
For 3 years, that's why it was so powerful.
Or you do it together. You do make sure that the mental component's done as well as the physical component. So make sure that you're training your mind as much or more than you're training your body. Because it's a mental thing. It's all mental. Everything. It's mental and emotional. We can get the mind and the body engaged, the heart engaged, the body follows.